Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I don't know why the name came incorrectly in the stream. It's showing as
I don't know why
it's showing as Ascent Talk.
It's okay. Yeah, we can always change it later, not an issue.
Okay, sure. It's also going on live. Okay. We can start then. Thanks, Gayatri ji. So the first Siddhanti is Sumaji, who will be talking about Brahma Vichara. Sumaji, you can go ahead.
Sure. Hari Om everyone. My topic for today is Brahma Vichara. Vichara means thought process or inquiry, and Brahman is Ishvara. Brahma Vichara means inquiry into Brahma or contemplation of Absolute. This is also called cosmic inquiry. In Brahma Vichara, we start from the universe and come to the individual level. It's the top down approach. Here, the individual is considered as work in progress. Basically, understanding of Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara together is Brahma Vichara. Questioning who created this world, how did the creation occur, who is Ishvara, what is Maya, what is God's relationship to Maya, why am I suffering, what is Atma, what is my role in the creation, what is karma, what is dharma, Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. It's the generalized approach from the perspective of Ishvara. In Brahma Vichara, a structured study is needed to understand Brahman. For example, if you have to learn a foreign language, then we start with basics. First, we start with alphabets, vowels, words, sentence, and then learn to read and write. Similarly, to understand Brahma Vichara, we follow step-by-step process. Start with the basics, which involves Shravanam, studying scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Vedanta. This removes ignorance by absorbing the knowledge. Then Manana, reflecting on the teachings. Nididhyasana, meditating on the ultimate reality. We accept and embrace the teaching fully. Then practicing sadhana chetustaya, viveka, discrimination, developing a clear understanding of the distinction between the eternal reality Brahman and the transient world. Vairagya, dispassion, cultivating dispassion towards material desires and worldly concern. Then Shat Sampati, practicing discipline through Shama, control of mind, Dhamma, control of senses, Uparati, resolute Iksha, endurance, Shraddha, faith in the scriptures and Guru, then Samadhana, focused goal, and Mumukshitva, desire for liberation. Basically, we start with scriptures and end with logic. The Mahavakya, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, everything is Brahman. Brahman is unmanifest and manifest through all forms. Brahman is present in both manifest and unmanifest form. Brahman is the source of fear and fearlessness for an ignorant and wise person, respectively. Like one wrist branches into five fingers, one Brahman powers all the manifested forms. A story of once Lord Subramanya and Lord Ganesha had a contest as to who could do the Sarva Pradakshinam of the world fastest. So Lord Subramanya jumped on his peacock and started traveling. But Lord Ganesha, whose vehicle was the mouse and who was also fat, could not travel as fast. But being wiser, he just decided to perform a pradakshina of Shiva and Parvati, who jointly represent the universe or Sarva Prapancha. Another story from the Puranas, Indra asked Vishwakarma to construct a huge palace for himself in Swarga. However, the extension plan kept on increasing and the construction was not ending. Vishwakarma got tired and prayed to God for help. God visited and asked Indra, how many Vishwakarmas have you hired in constructing such a huge palace? Indra was surprised by this question as he thought there was only one Vishwakarma. Similar to this universe with its 14 worlds, there are infinite universe and each universe has an Indra and Vishwakarma. At the same time, Indra saw several ants walking towards him in queue. He asked God, where are all these ants were coming from? God said, all these ants were Indras in their past life. I have called them to meet you, and Indra was speechless. So basically, in conclusion, through Brahma Vichara, seeker aims to realize the true nature of Brahman, gain a direct experience of Brahman, realizing that individual self is not separate from the ultimate reality. This inquiry is considered powerful tool for spiritual growth, leading to self-realization and liberation. Also, Brahma Vichara is suitable for most people. It helps in Chitta Shuddhi. It is the study of the vibhutis of Ishvara, Brahman. Thank you all. That's it.
Thank you, Sumaji. Purva Pakshi for Sumaji is Mamtaji is not here. Anybody has any questions for Sumaji?
Sumaji,
Mhm.
Brahma Vichara is suitable for which kind of seeker?
Entry level like me. So, yeah.
So, so you said Brahma Vichara is actually the entire
Yeah.
studies of Vedanta and the
Yes.
sadhana and everything,
Mhm.
all the
Yes, yes, all the sadhanas.
karma
Yeah.
yoga, everything includes in
Yes. Yeah,
Brahma.
karma yoga, karma kanda, all that, like,
How
bhakti
is this
yoga.
Brahma Vichara different from our Vedanta's
Mhm.
Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana? Is that also a Brahma Vichara?
That's also the Brahma Vichara, right? Basically, like you're realizing it's preparing you actually to realize Aham Brahmasmi, everything.
Is Brahma Vichara about realizing Aham Brahmasmi?
It is the finally you go to that level, right? You're the Brahman. Basically, you start from the universe, like for the ignorant, that Atma Vichara, like realizing Aham Brahman is like for the mature soul who is perfect. That's what Prabhuji tells. And then for people like us who are, starting into this, all this, it's a preparation for us to get to that level. That's what I feel. Yeah.
So you think there is any difference between Atma Vichara and Brahma Vichara?
They both are same. Atman is also Brahman, and but the steps taken towards actually. Yeah.
Okay. Maniji, you have anything to ask?
Yeah. So is it inside out approach, outside in approach? What would you
Yeah, actually,
describe what?
Brahma Vichara from the outside talk to the bottom kind of, whereas Atma Vichara, you're like, who am I? You're just questioning, like as Ramana Maharshi tells, like question who am I? And then again it is for the mature seeker. So in
So
order to be
using that, can you answer Gayatriji's question?
I don't know.
Introspective approach and something that brings you inside from
Okay.
outside, using that point as the starting point. Can you make another attempt at answering Gayatriji's question?
Yeah, so in Atma Vichara, it is like questioning who am I? Basically, like, sorry, I'm not able to. Yeah.
Gayatri, would you like to help her? Gayatriji?
No, Maniji, you can explain on that.
So let's ask Ashmita to you do the self-evaluation first. Suma?
Yes. So basically, I was like, when I was doing this, I focused more on Brahma Vichara, Atma Vichara, like whatever I know, it is only from the talks and hearing everything in the meditation group, always like all this, whatever comes in that Sadhguru teachings and everything. And I just listened to Prabhuji's video. Atma Vichara, it is for the perfect, a person who is perfect. He doesn't have to do all the study and everything, the outside thing, like he's already matured soul, and then like directly going into the Atma Vichara, like questioning.
No, but Sumaji, you have already explained it when
Huh?
Vaniji asked that inside out, that is the exact answer. That's
Oh, okay.
yeah. So Brahma Vichara is, and you said that top bottom
From out, yeah.
that is the
Outside to
yeah.
inside, Brahma
Yes,
Vichara, and
yes.
Atma Vichara from inside, like, okay.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, like yesterday when I was doing this, I didn't have the second story, and it was just like 4 minutes, 20 or 30 seconds, something. Then I added more content. Only today morning, I kept on thinking, what else could I add? And then I just remembered that story of the Indra, like and the Vishwakarma, and I thought it is good for this Brahma Vichara, and that's when I added it. Yeah. So I could make it to like 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yashmita?
Yes, Sumaji, the talk was structured with, as you said, you added more examples, so it was more interesting. And the conclusion part was also very clear that which seeker can approach this Brahma Vichara, and what is the ultimate goal is to realize that both are the same. So that was brought out very clearly in terms of the concluding of Brahma Vichara as well. And in terms of questioning, question and answers, also you've answered well. Anything more to add, Vaniji, on the answers you want to elaborate more or?
Suma, you were very fluent and you had collected information very well about Brahma Vichara and Atma Vichara. But for is 7 minutes the duration of this talk? What was the time?
No, it was 5 minutes, 5 minutes to 6 minutes. So initially I just had it like without the second story, it was just like 4 minutes, like, 20 seconds. I'm like, I'm not even 5 minutes. Then I kept on thinking in morning, like while taking show, what else can I add? And this just came actually. All the universe, I kept thinking 14 words. Then I just remembered the story of Indra. Yeah.
Yeah. So everything that you spoke was very good. But for 5 minutes, did you feel that it was too packed?
No, it was not. I thought it
I
was
felt
correct.
it was a little packed.
Oh, okay.
For 5 minutes. If you had taken about what you had in the beginning was enough actually.
Oh,
You
okay.
take that and go a little bit deeper into it.
Got it. Yeah.
You gave a lot of information, which was, all of it was right, but it was not allowing you to penetrate.
That's true. Yeah.
Gayatriji's question was a penetrative question. So it made you pierce the outer layer and go inside. For a sadhak, what is the difference? So between Brahma Vichara and Atma Vichara, and in terms of how will you actually differentiate? What is the difference? So when that question came, it became difficult to go inside because the focus had been on the surface.
That's true.
So it is good even if the talk is 5 minutes. Nothing was wrong with today's talk. Everything was very nicely done. But for greater comfort level for you and for maybe more clarity for the listeners, because when you throw a lot of info at the audience in a short space of time, it becomes difficult to process.
Yeah.
Everything is new. You may be hearing it for the first time. And so much pack of information, I need time to process. So some pauses.
That's true. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll make
And
sure
then
next time.
maybe a question and maybe little penetration, leave some of the surface information out and go a little more in depth.
Got it. Yeah,
You can
thank
try
you.
for the next
Yeah,
talk.
next time. Yeah, I'll try. Yeah,
The next
thank you.
But otherwise, it actually, whatever you have collected and presented is absolutely very well done. But the same information, I feel, if you are doing, let's say, a 12-minute talk or a 15-minute talk, that information is enough for that much of. You have enough info for that. And then you will be able to penetrate also within that time.
Sure.
For 5, about half that.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
But whatever your collected story, everything was great.
Thanks.
And great fluency.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sumaji, and thanks, Vaniji. So the next speaker is Gayatri ji, who will be talking about Atma Vichara.
So I have to put a timer, right? Okay, my time starts now. So the topic is Atma Vichara. I think before I met Guruji, one day I was in this landmark and I was going through a lot of spiritual books. I came across Ramana Maharshi's. That was my first book. And in that, he said, example, he said, or I don't know, maybe somebody's book on Ramana Maharshi, he said, supposing you met with an accident. So you are this body, right? If you lose your leg, you're still saying, I am there, even though a part of the body is missing. If you lose your hand, still you are there. If you lose your second leg also, you are there. It's a bad example, but still it was very, I mean, it triggered a thought process, but very soon it faded away because I didn't have anybody to discuss that and whom to ask beyond that. That was an example, and I got, I kind of understood. I didn't understand also. I left it there. And I think after a couple of years later, I met Guruji, and then he started talking about self-inquiry, direct path. So yeah, that was all going top of the head because I didn't understand. So today, if I see the whole thing, if I have to understand what is Atma Vichara, if based on what I've seen in the last 10 years journey with enlightened person, so Atma Vichara, it's like, it needs, it is also a set of prakriyas. So we, just like we have Gnana Vichara, Brahma Vichara, like that we have in Gnana Vichara, what we are doing is we are going through scripture, study of scriptures, Upanishads, and doing Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And it's a systematic way. We are taking the help of the framework of scriptures and, trying to understand all the three, Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. If we come to Atma Vichara, it's a direct, hit at Jiva alone. So here we are dropping Jagat and Ishvara, and we are dropping all the concepts here. In Atma Vichara, you don't take the support of any scriptures or Upanishads, but a person is expected who has who wants to go to Atma Vichara is expected to have a good knowledge of these scriptures. So that is where Brahma Vichara happens. So I feel that the sequence is like a person starts with Brahma Vichara and then finally ends up in Atma Vichara. Or it might happen simultaneously also. So here what happens in Atma Vichara is it's a process of inquiring into the self, where this Jiva starts using the intellect. The intellect starts inquiring into itself. So here the mind is playing both the roles of questioning and answering. Of course, here what happens is there is a lower logic and a higher logic being used. The higher logic comes from Sadguru, and the lower logic, it's called as avidya vritti and vidya vritti. So the avidya vritti is attacked with the vidya vritti, which is the vidya vritti is coming based on the inputs, the questioning process by the Sadguru. In this if we go to Ramana Maharshi, he won't say you are Brahman, you are this, you are that. He'll just ask a simple question called who am I? But whereas if we go to Gnana, there are we take the Mahavakyas as the base, and then we have to meditate on that, we have to contemplate on that. So there is a whole lot of process there. So how does Vichara Prakriya work, Atma Vichara work? So Guruji always gives that standard example of police and the thief. So how when a police starts questioning the thief, first he tries all possible, he uses entire intellect to give various answers to, to escape from the police, to escape being convicted. So, but the police is quite smart. He starts questioning you from all the angles, and somewhere you get caught. That's where you become silent. So that's how Sadguru, Guru does that. That's why it is said that Atma Vichara has to be done in the presence of in the presence of a Guru, because mind always gives answers based on our deep hidden assumptions. When we use the word hidden, it means that mind is not aware of it. It's using the assumptions without knowing that these are assumptions. So these assumptions, these, because it's hidden assumptions, I will not know. So me sitting alone and doing Atma Vichara is of no use. So Guru starts questioning all my assumptions, and that's how this Atma Vichara, the process starts. But for that, it is also assumed, like, when Adi Shankaracharya tells in Tattvabodha, a seeker who is coming to Vedanta expected to already have Shat Sampati. Like that, a person who is coming to Atma Vichara, self-inquiry method, the direct path, he is expected to, have a, a good understanding of Vedanta, and also a very evolved soul. So okay, my time is over. Hi.
Thanks, Gayatri ji. So,
I
Purva
want to take a few seconds to wind up, Gayatri ji.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to tell here is this lower logic and higher logic. How it is defined is, lower logic is a body ego-based logic, and higher logic is a consciousness-based logic. So we, every time any question comes, we have to change our viewpoint, our standpoint, and go to that higher viewpoint, like I am consciousness, and start answering the questions. That is what Guruji emphasized when you are doing Atma Vichara. This body-based logic and consciousness-based logic plays a very important role. That's all.
Thanks, Gayatri ji. Purva Pakshi for Gayatri ji is Jayashri ji. Please ask questions.
No questions.
Ayo, Jayashri ji, please ask questions. No.
The only chance you will get to ask the Purva Pakshi any questions. Don't miss it.
Next time.
No, isn't, I mean,
not because you have a doubt, but because Purva Pakshis will always question. So try to make the Siddhanti lose their footing. So because of that, just ask a question, whatever. Yashmita, you have any question?
One question was on the scriptures. I think, Gayatri ji, you mentioned that like for Atma Vichara, like the scriptures were not like a mandatory base that was needed. It was just on the inquiry that or the prakriyas which the Guru is sharing. So, like, is there a need for scriptures in case of Atma Vichara or not? Because there are many scriptures like Drishya Viveka, or like there are many foundation texts which takes the approach of Atma Vichara. Is that really necessary or not in the process?
So I think what Guruji says is Atmamchara is purely a logic based where if we take the example of Drigdrisha Viveka is like again if you don't have to study Drigdrisha Viveka. When Guruji first time asked me the question, if you say I have this, which means you are not this. If you are able to see something, that means you are separate from that. This is what is being explained in the entire Drisha Viveka. All these prakriyas only, I think, came up as. So, if you go to Ramana Maharshi, he'll directly use the logic rather than asking us to study the scripture. So, if you take the 10th man story, or if you take the Ribhu and Nidaka's story, all these are like what did in that example, if you see Ribhu Maharshi and Nidhaga, I think the disciple name is. He literally, he made the disciple sit on his shoulders to understand, what is above, what is below, what are these directions with reference to what you are saying. So everything is with reference to the body because you are using the lower logic called I am the body. That one, what he has done there, that prakriya, it was a prakriya that Ribhu Maharshi has done. So that was enough. So what Upanishads, what scriptures, of course, there are conditions here. He should be quite matured, which obviously means that he has done a lot of sadhana already, which might include a reading of scriptures also. But Ramana Maharshi never spoke about scriptures and Upanishads. Maybe, it's assumed that you already know the essence of that. You need not quote from the Upanishads and scriptures left, right, and center. So you know the essence. So that will become the foundation. And by taking that as the foundation, you are doing, you are applying the logic and going ahead with the Atma Vichara.
Thanks, Gayatri ji. It's clear. Vani ji, any questions?
Gayatri's self-assessment.
It was not structured. I didn't make it like a good point-wise thing. And I wanted to tell that story of Ribhu and also the some stories, some examples and prakriyas that Guruji uses, like, you are not your biodata, etc., which I thought I had a lot of time. So that is what I didn't do.
Why are we not taking 7 minutes for the talk?
6 minutes, right?
6 minutes. 7 is what we used to take normally, for the last batch at least. So maybe we could make it 7. I think we are almost coming to the end of the.
Yeah. So it was not quite structured, and I think Atma Vichara, there must be some Upanishad slokas or something from scriptures which might be talking about some slokas which might be talking about Atma Vichara, which I think I didn't check. So like that, yeah.
Yashmita?
Yes, like
Ashmita will give a honest feedback now. We had an understanding before Vaniji came.
yeah, like earlier Gayatri ji told that she was not able to cover 5 minutes before starting the talk, but yeah, as you said, Gayatri ji, like the content was up to, like, you could cover up to 7 minutes or more than that. So in terms of timing, I think you shouldn't worry if you'll be able to cover it or not. And the structure was also, I like the structure how you started, because like if a new person or a beginner is listening to the session, like they will have some background or some questions in the behind. So you started with how you started your journey into Atma Vichara, so they'll be able to more connect to it, and also it also brought what is the process that we would go in the Atma Vichara, what are the prakriyas that we would take. what like it, and it is also with the Sadguru that it will blossom, whatever approaches that he will use. So that clarity was brought out really well. And also the Jiva Jagat Ishvara, you brought out what will be covered in terms of content and how it will be progressed. So
Oh, I didn't know I talked all that. So a treat for you from my side.
yeah, so overall it had everything about Atma Vichara is what anything Maniji.
Yes, Vaniji, I'm waiting for you. Oh,
Yeah.
Yashmita was scared, so I told her before the class started, you better give a positive feedback.
Okay. So I actually loved the way the talk began because it just hooked me right in the beginning. This anecdote about the bookstore and something that most people can relate to.
Yeah.
So I liked that. And then I liked the lower logic and the higher logic, the body-based logic and the Atma-based or consciousness-based logic. How one will combat the other. Because that's really what is happening for most of us.
Yeah.
So that I liked a lot because again, that I could relate to. When something happens, most of us will start off thinking, Nanu Nanimbudu Nanalla. So it's a big Brahmastra for us. That's consciousness-based logic. Or what will a Jnani, how will a Jnani see it? Or so that was it added a lot of depth because it gave practical insights to what is Atma Vichara. And Brahma Vichara also, Chitta Shuddhi, etc. was on there. Then I think I would not say the talk is not structured. Maybe it is not structured in the way, the format that we have given in Jnanajyoti, saying have this, have a quote, have a story, have an anecdote, etc., etc. But the talk had its own structure and it had depth. So those things, and it was informal, as though you're just sitting and having a chat.
Yeah.
So that was also nice. Only one thing to be a little cautious about is Ramana Maharshi has recommended, he has spoken a lot on scriptures. In fact, he has rewritten, you can say, or sort of written commentaries on Viveka Chudamani, commentaries on many different things. Then he used to ask disciples to write out Ribhu Gita, he has given like 108 shlokas or 126 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita for contemplation. He would ask people to write it out and bind it like a book and chant it or study it.
But in the talk, Guruji was saying that Ramana Maharshi.
A certain age.
Okay.
If you go through the chronicles and go through his writings, he refers a lot and he is very sharp very well versed in Vedanta. He could bring in Vedanta
so in a way, then
points
scriptures are very, very important for Atma Vichara, right?
Yes, they are very important. And he would bring in scriptures for most of the disciples. He would ask them to study, he would ask them to write it out, he would ask them to contemplate on it. So that one part maybe needs a little bit of verification.
My next topic
Other than that,
a debate with Guruji, because Guruji always repeatedly used to say that, and especially clearly in this talk, this is an old talk that I took. So in that talk, he clearly said, like, scriptures.
No, it might have come in some context.
No, it was purely on Atma Vichara only. See, the talk itself was a definition of Atma Vichara. And he said Ramana Maharshi will never refer to Upanishads. And Ramana Maharshi will never tell somebody approaches, you are Brahman or you are this. The only word that used to come from his mouth is, who am I? So I was also kind of this, because at the same time they are saying you have to be evolved, matured. So that evolution and maturity doesn't come without a good Vedantic knowledge is what I feel on the other side.
I would, not everybody who came to him had Vedantic knowledge. And I would not like to contradict what Prabhuji said or something. But in my reading of Ramana Maharshi's teachings and writings about him, I have come across many instances where he would ask devotees to go through some scriptures. He gave Bhagavad Gita, just like Prabhuji has given us 126 or 124 shlokas or something. He had also given 108 or something like that, some shlokas for disciples to study. And so it was there. It's not that it was never there. I've come across it in my reading. But not to contradict what Prabhuji is saying.
No,
Maybe
no,
Prabhuji
maybe he has given that because they were still not matured enough to, start that self-inquiry process.
Correct. So everybody can't be in that stage. But there were mature seekers who didn't need anything. If they saw him and they came and stood in front of him, even without saying a word, if he looked at them, it was enough.
Oh.
Such instances are also there. And instances where he asks, who are you? That is also enough. Where he didn't give any Vedantic, any more elaboration, or didn't ask them to study scriptures. So it depends on the kind of sadhak, kind of disciple.
Yeah.
I guess. So what a Prabhuji would have quoted would be for some disciples who were very mature. For them, no other Vedanta, nothing might have been required. Such instances are also there.
Yeah, maybe because he was talking from the evolved seeker's point of view, hence the talk came out like that.
There was one disciple called Mastan. He was a Muslim. He just came and stood in front of Ramana Maharshi and over.
Wow.
Ramana Maharshi looked at him and he stood like that for some 8 hours.
Oh.
Without moving and finished. It's done. So even who am I, he didn't ask. Or who are you also, he didn't ask. So such things are also there.
Yes.
So Prabhuji might have been referring to such disciples.
Yeah.
But when we are giving a talk, it is good to little bit go into what we are, especially if we are referring to another Mahatma or Sadguru or something.
Means I didn't understand.
To take a little broader spectrum is good.
Okay. Like that.
Because if I say something like that, Ramana Maharshi never spoke about Vedanta, or to a Ramana devotee who has read a lot about Ramana Maharshi, it won't ring true to such a person. They will bring forward so many instances, and then it's difficult for us to reply.
Got it.
So from that angle, better to be a little sensitive in such circumstances. Right over here, it is fine between us. But I felt that the depth of the talk was amazing.
Yeah.
And the practicality of it, it's somebody listening to it will get a lot of tips about how to practice Atma Vichara and how important prakriyas are in Atma Vichara. That was one more very valid point that came out. If I gave an example of a prakriya also. So
Yeah,
those
actually,
things are
even
very valid.
when you're telling now, I also Upanishads and his famous his favorite scripture is Ribu Gita, right? And also one Upanishad is there. I don't remember. Now when you're saying yes, I remember. True.
Many things are there.
Yeah. So I think we should not pick up something from one particular talk and generalize that.
No, we should. I actually always try to verify whenever I'm talking about, say, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or Ramana Maharshi or somebody, I'm sure such devotees will be there in the audience. When I'm talking, I will always try to verify what I say.
Okay.
Because I don't want to hurt anybody's sentiments, or people will block you off and all the time they'll start ranting against you in their mind.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
who is this person?
Hmm.
Like this. So we don't want such things. So depends on the audience.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have taken too much time.
Yeah, that's fine. So very nice talk.
Yeah. Thank you.
This was just one small point, okay? Not a
Uh-huh.
big
Uh-huh.
deal.
Which one? No. That's important because in my AVSC sessions also this will be very helpful. In what context Guruji has told, and how much should I should also do some analysis of that. And finally, when I come in front of my AVSC members, I should give a right information.
Yeah.
That broad spectrum is a good thing, what you said. Yeah. Thank you, Vaniji.
Thanks, Gayatri ji. Thank you, Vani ji. So next two speakers are not here, Mamta ji and Indra ji. So we can move ahead to Jayashri ji, who will be talking about Atma Vichara as per Drik Drishya Viveka text.
Okay. I'm starting the timer, Jayashri ji.
Thank you.
Yeah. Start.
Hari Om. I bow to my Sadguru Narasimha Prabhuji's feet and I start my lecture. According to Drik Drishya Viveka, Atmajyoti is the process of distinguishing between the true self Atman and the external world Drishya. This can be done by discrimination Viveka, recognizing the difference between the unchanging true self and the changing world. And it can be done by dispassion, by vairagya, by giving up attachment to external objects and desires, and importantly by Atma Vichara, by inquiring into the nature of our true self, by asking ourselves, who am I? And seeking the answer. This can be done by recognizing the changing external objects by our sensory objects, which become seer number one. Take the example of the eye. We think eye is the seer number one, and all the external objects outside are drishyas. And it keeps changing. Even the sensory objects, the eyes cannot judge the drishyas without the help of the mind. It depends upon the sensory organs send the input to the mind, which we think is the real seer. So even eyes and sensory organs are not the real seer. So we come to seer number two. The mind, we think mind is the real seer, which is seeing all the changing drishyas. But mind is also changing. But the seer is a constant. Drik cannot take the place of drishya, and drishya can be changing, but druk is a constant factor. So mind is also changing. It is happy at some time, it is unhappy at some time, it is sad. So even it is not the real seer. So there is an unchanging awareness behind all this, which doesn't change. So here we come to seer number three, focusing on the real witness, that is our consciousness in Sakshi Bhava, which is the real seer behind everything. Ignore the veiling factor of Maya Shakti, and you recognize the true self Atman, the conscious in me, which is the real science, Drik, behind all the experiences. And Brahman is Sat Chit Ananda. All the names and forms of the external world borrow Sat, that is existence, from Brahman, and Sat and Chit, all our minds, gross matter and subtle body, everything, and our minds borrow Sat and Chit from Brahman, which happens by the consciousness is reflected as Chidabhasa in our mind, which shines on the external object for us to experience the object. Then just like it's called Chidabhasa. Just like a sun is reflected inside a pot of water, consciousness is reflected in our mind as Chidabhasa, which shines on the objects of the outside world for us to recognize. And this is a constant factor which doesn't change. It was there when I was in my previous birth. It was there when I was young, where it is there even now. It is going to be there after me also. So awareness, the witness becomes a knower, and the knower is you. This consciousness using the mind, it uses the mind. The consciousness reflects on the mind for us to know things. And I'll be quoting shloka number 20 from Drishya Viveka. Asti bhati priyam rupam nama chaitam cha panchakam adyatrayam brahma rupam jagat rupam tatodvayam. Every experience that I have has 5 aspects. That is Asti, that is Sat, Bhati, that is shining forth, that is Chit, Priyam, dear to me, Nama, Rupa, that is Rupa and Nama. So it is existence. It is every aspect has all these 5 aspects. So concentrate on the Brahman aspect, that is Asti, Bhati, Priyam, and ignore the Nama and Rupa to realize in every experience. And how in every experience, look at the Asti, Bhati, Priyam aspect and ignore the Nama, Rupa. And how do you do it in every moment of your life to realize yourself? So how do you do it? This is to be done by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And this Nididhyasana in Drishya Viveka, he has given us 5 to 6 types of Nididhyasana for us to follow, in which we go into Samadhi and realize ourselves as true Atman. It can be divided into internal Samadhi and external Samadhi, the external Dhyana. In the internal one, we have Savikalpa Samadhi, the Drishyan with Savikalpa Samadhi, in which the thoughts keep rising in your mind. Ignore the thoughts. Ignore the thoughts. It keeps coming. Ignore the thoughts. Concentrate on the consciousness which shines on this. It is coming into your experience because of the consciousness which is shining, lightening those thoughts. So go to Sakshi Bhava in the Drishyan with Savikalpa Samadhi. In Shabdan with Savikalpa Samadhi, hold on to the qualities of Brahman, like I am Asanga, I am Shuddha Chaitanya, I am Ananda, I am Atma, I am not BMI. So go on thinking of his qualities and just go into silence, and the thoughts of BMI will drop, and thoughts of Brahman will. There is a thought of Brahman in the Drishyan with in Shabdan with Savikalpa Samadhi. So there is little effort involved, but you will slowly, Brahman thought will prevail, and you slowly go into Samadhi and realize yourself. And you have Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In Antar-Nirvikalpa Samadhi, meditation is almost like deep sleep, but you're fully awake. You're thinking of Brahman all the time, but you're fully awake, and it is like a lamp which is not flickering in a room, and it is effortless. In Bahya, and this is the beginning, there's no effort at all. This is the beginning of Atmagnana, and you slowly sink into your true nature. And in Bahya Nirvikalpa Samadhi, again and again, in Bahya Nirvikalpa Samadhi, when any thoughts and emotions arise, all the time you keep going back to Sakshi Bhava, that is, this is the consciousness, the light of awareness which is shining on this. Keep going back to the conscious nature.
Ji, I think time is up.
Yeah, almost one last sentence. in Bahya Samadhi, come to the Samanya Lakshana and Vishesha Lakshana and concentrate on the Samanya Lakshana, that is the existence part of this nature. What is use of all these practices? Our knowledge that everything is pure Brahman inside and out is reinforced by these practices, and you realize that I am Shivananda Rupaha, Shivoham. Through Atma Vichara, one can attain moksha by realizing one's true nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayashree ji. Purva Pakshi is Padmaja ji. Please ask questions.
So I think it was kind of little structured, but I felt it is too packed, Jayashree. Too much of information is there. Hardly could go. A lot, I think. And somewhere I felt you were in a hurry or kind of little nervous. I don't know. I felt that. However, I think you have put lots of information for 7 minutes of and time also went little beyond. But I think it was structured, good. A lot of things been put across. I just wanted one question on this. In one of these things, you said witness becomes the knower. Can you explain a little more about it? Witness becomes the knower.
See, Druk, we come to the point that Druk is witness, and it is witness is consciousness. Witness is Sakshi Bhava. And only because of the light of the consciousness shining on anything, you know what is the experience. So because you know, you are the knower. Because you know, you are called the knower.
Right, thank you.
You are the knower of all experiences. You are the knower of everything, what is happening, the thought, the mind, everything.
Thank you, Jayashree. I think it's good.
I hope it was correct.
Vaniji will tell us.
Thanks, Padma. Thanks, Padmaja ji. Jayashree ji, self-evaluation.
Jayashree ji can do self-assessment.
I had too much to speak. I don't know. I didn't know where to cut down the points. I thought I have covered only in our class. We have covered only till Samadhi. In the Drikdishya Viveka class, which is happening for us since a year. So I thought I was incomplete, to tell you the truth. Maybe I had, I don't know what I have left.
Thanks, Jayashree ji. Yeah, like you said, like since you were attending the classes for 1 year, maybe you had too much of base and want to put into
Too much
7.
of information. It is going on. Even though it is going on, we are in Shloka 24. We are in Shloka 24 now.
Yeah. So the time was a factor. Otherwise, the clarity was throughout the talk as to what Drishya covers in terms of the seers, and that the shloka reference was also very good, because I think that is how like we can always relate to that shloka as an example, as a reference for all our experiences, and try to implement the Drishya Viveka. That example or the reference of shloka was very good. And yeah, like the samadhi part or the practices part could have been condensed, I feel. Otherwise, the flow and the structure, how you started, was really good. Anything more to add, Vaniji?
So it's clear that you have a good understanding of the subject. That really comes across in the talk. Just like we have Atma and Atma Viveka or Drishya Viveka, there is something while giving a talk that is called selection unselection Viveka. So I have 5 minutes, or I have 6 minutes or 7 minutes. So in that time, what will I cover and what will I leave?
See, I don't look at a timer
without
at all.
feeling, I don't have to feel guilty about it. That's the great part.
I write 2 pages of information, which usually comes for 6 minutes. So, Manenalli timer itಕೊಂಡು practice ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ.
No. Can you show me the notes that you have there? Just. Yeah. So that's fine. Writing it out like that is good for your own clarity. Okay. After that, that goes to the side. From there, you do selection, unselection, Viveka, and you will just write 5 points or 6 points in one small piece of paper. And that will be there in front of you.
Okay.
Otherwise, the script will take over, just like Vasana packages will take over.
The script will take over the same
You don't want them to take over, but still they take over.
Yeah.
So that becomes a package for you and that will take over. And it becomes difficult for you to know where to break off and where to stop. Because anywhere I stop, it's still incomplete. In my mind, at least, it's still incomplete. Because for me, those 2 pages are Purnatva. So anywhere I cut it off, it is Apurna still for me.
So just the Samadhi.
So first of all, when you're selecting for 5 minutes, can I talk about 6 kinds of Samadhi?
Agala.
Not possible.
No,
Finish. Selection, unselection, Viveka. Done.
Just say the names.
Just
say the names and leave it at that. Yeah, I could have done that.
No, that is left. I mean, I still have a lot of choice. Maybe I will just take Samadhi and say, what is Samadhi without going into the 3 kinds? What is the purpose of Samadhi?
Maybe but Vaniji, was her topic on Drisha Viveka or
I don't know.
related to Atma
Vichara, Brahma Vichara. No.
For me, the topic was Atma Vichara according to Drisha Viveka.
Yeah. So that was her topic.
That's why I elaborated on that. My topic was.
It's fine. What you took up was fine. It was as per the framework given to you. Just take less of it.
Oh, sure. Sure, next time.
ನನ್ ಕಪ್ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಇರೋದು ಅದ್ರ ಬರ್ತಿ ನಾನು ತುಂಬಿಸ್ತೀನ ಅಥವಾ ಓವರ್ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಹಾಕ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತೀನ ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ವಿ ಫಾಲೋ otherwise your clarity and understanding are really good.
Thank you
Really good. So you just apply the small principle. That's all.
Thanks, Vaniji. Thanks, Jayashree ji. The next speaker is Padmaja ji, who will be talking about Brahma Vichara from the framework of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10.
Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Yorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This ancient mantra from Brihat Aranyaka Upanishad says, lead me from the untruth to the truth. Lead me from the darkness to the light. Lead me from the mortality to the immortality. This invocation seeks guidance from the ultimate reality to embark on the journey of Brahma Vichara, exploring the true nature of the self and the universe. Hari Om Atmajyotis. Today's my topic is Brahma Vichara as per Vibhuti Yoga, chapter 10, Bhagavad Gita. So first let's look into it. What, how, and why Brahma Vichara? Brahma Vichara refers to the inquiry or investigation into the ultimate reality, the true nature of the self. It involves questioning and exploring, analyzing the nature of the self, the reality, and the universe. How do we do Brahma Vichara? It involves Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa, self-reflection, meditation, various procedures by which we do Brahma Vichara. Now, the last question would be, why do we have to do Brahma Vichara? To realize one's true potential, true nature, and achieve the spiritual liberation or the moksha or self-realization. Now, since now we have known the what, why, how of Brahma Vichara, let's delve more into Brahma Vichara through Vibhuti Yoga. These are Krishna's teachings to Arjuna, where Krishna reveals his divine glories, the Vibhuti, to Arjuna, showcasing his omnipresence and omnipotence. So, verse number, I'll cover few shlokas here, and shloka number 4 and 5 of chapter 10. Buddhir jnanam sammoha kshama satyam dama kshamaha sukham dukkham bhavo abhavo bhayam cha abhayameva cha ahimsa samata trishti tapodanam yasho ayashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva prithak vidaha. Meaning, from me alone arise a varieties of qualities in humans such as intellect, knowledge, clarity of thought, forgiveness, truthfulness, control over the senses and mind, birth and death, fear and sorrow, joy and sorrow, fear and courage, non-violence, equanimity, austerity, charity, fame and infamy. So Krishna explains that he is the source of everything, and everything is a manifestation of his own energies. In verse number 11, in the same chapter, he emphasizes that he is the knower of the field, Kshetrajna, and the field itself, which is Kshetra, indicating his ultimate reality as a self. Verse 18, he highlights the importance of knowing him, importance of knowing Krishna, the ultimate reality, to attain true understanding. So if one has to have, one knows the Brahman, that means he has got a total understanding. And then the verse 22, where Krishna concludes by stating that he is the essence of all the Vedas, the creator of the universe, and the ultimate goal of the knowledge. So by all these verses, we know that the Brahman is the ultimate. So I'll just share a small story with you all. So this is a story of a tenacious monk. There was a young monk. To seek enlightenment, he approaches a wise guru. And the wise guru, the guru asks him to meditate on who am I. So this monk, he just sits and then gets into meditating. However, because of his nature, he was into getting various thoughts. He gets distracted, and then he keeps thinking of this. And every time he's getting distracted, he says, "I'm not going to get this thing. I'm not able to meditate." So he thought of giving it up. And then suddenly he remembers his guru saying, the moment you think of giving it up, just be tenacious. Just hold on to that, cling on to that thought of who am I. So this time he again gets back and keeps thinking. And then he says, he asks this question, who am I? And the answer comes, another thought comes. When he goes inward and starts asking this question, thought comes, I'm a monk. But then he says, that's a role that I'm playing, but that's not my true nature. So again, he asks the question, who am I? This time the answer comes, I'm the seeker of the truth. Again, he thinks that this is just a label that I'm giving. And every time he keeps asking, he gets an answer, he counter answers to that. And he gets into this neti, this is not the one, this is not the one. And thus he, peels off the various layers of identification. And suddenly a thought emerges where he says, I'm just the witness, I'm the awareness who's getting all these thoughts, but I'm not that. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, but I am that awareness. And with that moment, his true nature was revealed and he attains the liberation. He had discovered his ultimate reality as the Brahman. So this story illustrates the transformative power of Brahma Vichara, demonstrating how persistent self-inquiry can lead to profound realization and spiritual awakening. Brahma Vichara is recognizing our ultimate reality. You call that ultimate reality, you can call Krishna, you can call Brahman, whatever you call, but that is itself is a source of everything. Realize it as the essence of all knowledge and existence. So my dear Atmajyotis, I encourage you all to be persistent in your journey of self-realization through Brahma Vichara. May the divine guide you, may the divine guide us all, help us to find our limitless self as Brahma Vichara reveals the true nature of the self as eternal and infinite. So our nature is this infinite nature, which is, I don't know, not coming. Can you all see? This is the infinite. So thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Padmajaji. Purva Pakshi is Indraji is not there. Sumaji, would you like to have ask any questions to Padmajaji? It's the same topic of Brahma Vichara.
Yeah, it was more clear actually. Yeah, I like the way Padmaji started with the Asatoma Sadgamaya. It caught actually the very first this thing, and then I don't have questions, but there was more clarity. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sumaji. Anybody else has any questions to Padmajaji?
I have a question, Yashmita, can I ask?
Yeah, sure, Gayatri ji, please go ahead.
Bhagavad Gita, Padmajaji, Bhagavad Gita, I think second chapter talks about Atmajnana, and yeah, the 10th chapter talks about
Vibhuti Yoga.
Vibhuti Yoga, which is about the omnipresence and what is the other one? Yeah, of Krishna. So why was this chapter selected to speak about Brahma Vichara? Why is it that second chapter was not selected, is not taken as a context to explain Brahma Vichara?
I think if I'm not wrong, as per my understanding, all the chapters, they delve into Brahma Vichara. If you take any shloka in Bhagavad Gita, everything talks about that. But then in this particular chapter, the glories of Krishna are explained. I think in a very large sense, the way that when Purnima had explained it to us, it was like ultimate. So the vibhutis of Noah, like he being the knower of Vedas, I think this is not explained in any other chapter. And it gives us a lots about the Brahman,
even the creation, everything, right? Like how the world came into the being in chapter 10, like lot of thing about the creation itself. Krishna goes
the
on,
Vedas, the creation, lots and lots are explained here in this particular chapter.
Related to Brahma Vichara. Yeah, in second chapter, it's mainly about that Atma, like Atma can't die, Atma is the soul cannot be burned, the soul cannot be wet, the soul cannot be dry. It's like there is no death for the soul is always existing. So it is more related to the Atma Vichara, the second chapter.
Yeah, so I think when Guruji was taking Bhagavad Gita Purna Yoga every day, he used to in every class he used to start with saying that I think the first six chapters cover Jiva. That's why Atma Vichara is into that area. The next 6 chapters cover Jagat, and the last 6 chapters Ishvara, if I'm not mistaken. So Vibhuti Yoga is about Brahman as the manifestation, and Brahma Vichara is, I think, understanding Brahman, inquiry into Brahman as the outer world. So maybe that was the reason why Vibhuti Yoga. I was thinking actually, why did these people select Vibhuti Yoga for Brahma Vichara contemplation? So Vaniji, if you can add anything to that, it will be nice.
I think whatever you said is making sense. 6, 6, and 6. So, Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara.
So Brahma Vichara is basically to understand Jagat and Ishvara. Atma Vichara is purely to understand my innermost self, which is Jiva, right?
Correct.
So is that the reason why Vibhuti Yoga has been selected? Because Vibhuti Yoga is about the entire creation, Brahman as the creation, right?
As creation. manifest.
Okay. That's all.
Yeah. You want to do self-assessment?
I did my homework. And I wanted to show this. I don't know whether you can see this. This is what I made it.
If you
like,
switch off your virtual background, then we
yeah,
can see.
Reena, can you help me out? I don't know. I'll just try. Hey, Reena, sorry. Big up. I'll just do it. Give me 1 minute. Hmm. 1 second, I'll do that. Nanna. Now you can see. Just click that. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is what I have made it the notes. I don't know whether you can see. I just said 1, 2, 3 points. I'm not sure if you can see that things. So this is the timings I've bet it. I'll take 1 minute here. I this. So 7 minutes exactly well. So this is what I did. So when I did a rehearsal also, I was looking at the time. Okay, fine. Here, this is I have to cut this off. I'll do this summary I have to do. So I had actually planned to chant few more shlokas, but doesn't fit into the timing. So I said no, only 2 shlokas enough. Otherwise, I was planning to put 5 shlokas. Time didn't permit me. So I said, okay, I'll just give an explanation of those summary of other shlokas. So that's what I did. Then I had a story also. A little longer, I cut off the story also. And then the closing. So this is what the starting, the body, and the story, and the closing. So with this, I think I exactly took 7 minutes.
Very organized approach. I think 5 shlokas would have been too much also.
Yeah. I think it would be too much. Yeah. But when no, it's like how Jayashree ji was doing it, and then she was like putting everything over there. When we do the preparation, we felt like reading the slokas are so very this one. But I think looking at the timing and the interest of the audience, it's very important for us to just put what is required.
Yeah,
less content, but it should be more effective. I think that's what I think.
That is excellent dynamic scripting. That last part is always required.
Correct. And I think I couldn't show in the last one. This is what I made it.
Yeah, this was the one I said, show it to us.
Yeah. I am the infinite Brahma Vichara. So I just made this and show it. Thank you.
Yashmita,
Vaniji, any other feedback? I think your feedbacks are always helpful, so it helps us too.
Yeah. Yashmita, over to you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot, Padmaraji. Your enthusiasm will be seen throughout all your talks. So that is one key highlight. And as you said, you've been very organized and structured. So you finished well within your 7 minutes, what you were highlighting in the chat yesterday. So kudos to that. And one point I wanted to clarify was that example that you gave. You said that the student and the monk example. So where he keeps on questioning, and at last, I think you said he realizes that I'm the witness as a thought. Maybe that needed a bit of correction, I guess, Vaniji, if you'd like to add on that or.
Yeah, I also had another question. Now, that is like a prakriya, whatever you told us, that story. Neti, an illustration of Neti prakriya. Okay, one prakriya for Neti. Now, what is the difference between that prakriya and the who am I, Atma Vichara, that Ramana Maharshi has recommended? Is there any difference? And if so, what is it?
Your question is what Ramana Maharshi says of who am I? And then the one you are talking about in the story that I talked about, is there any difference is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
I haven't gone through what Ramana Maharshi had said. This is what I got the story.
Or
Maybe
how Prabhuji has taught us how to do who am I.
I didn't attend any classes of that also.
Between that and this.
No, somebody who has attended Prabhuji's classes on who am I should explain it, because I haven't attended any
And
class.
that doesn't come in the talk, is it? The talk reference talk given to you? How to do Atma Vichara? Is it given in that? Prabhuji has explained in that. I don't know. I'm asking.
No, I don't think so. I think what he has told us is, there are two approaches. I think as Sumaji had explained it in her talk in the beginning, there were two approaches. You have a bottom-up approach and a top-down approach. So top-down is you take a look at a bigger picture and then, come
Zoom
down
in.
to your and then you go up a bottom where you look at the basic aspects of it and then explore and go and then look at the universe and the creation and then at a bigger picture. So that's how one can do Brahma Vichara and Atma Vichara. So these are the approaches he has mentioned it.
Correct. So who am I when we ask that question in Atma Vichara? The verbal mind does not participate.
Okay.
Okay, like it did for the monk.
Okay.
The verbal mind for the monk kept on throwing up one by one concepts in his mind.
Correct.
So it became a dialogue between two parts of his mind. One mind is asking, who am I? And then one mind is saying
Answering the question.
power, different roles, etc.
True.
Labels. But in actual Atma Vichara, the way Prabhuji teaches us, or the way Ramana Maharshi has recommended it, when we ask, who am I? We are questioning the small I, the mind, the ego. Who are you? Basically, I'm asking, who am I? That means I'm asking, who is the small I that keeps coming and saying, I did this, and claiming doership, claiming enjoyership, claiming knowership. So who is that I?
That ego you're talking about?
That's what I'm asking. And when I ask that, there is no verbal answer, because that mind, when it is questioned about itself, who are you? It has no answer. And it is quiet. It becomes quiet. So when it becomes quiet, in that instant, the substratum is the only thing that is there. That is the answer. The big self, which is the substratum, in which the mind is an appearance, in which the ego is an appearance, when I question the very existence of the ego by asking, who are you? Or who am I? Then it falls silent and the substratum becomes apparent in that silence. So that is the answer. And we don't keep on saying, who am I, also like a japa, which some people apparently do. So that is the way we do self-inquiry, Atma Vichara. We question the...
Yeah, I think that helps.
Yeah. So that part should be brought out, especially when I give an example. The monk story by itself, very nice story to illustrate neti, that I am not my roles, etc.
Understood.
But it should not be confused with the Atma Vichara practice.
Got it.
That's all. Otherwise, very good talk. Very nice.
Thank you.
And like Yashmita said, Sakshi Bhava, we are talking about Sakshi Bhava, then that is also a temporary appearance of a very subtle kind, where the mind is taking up the role of witness. But the knowing principle, I think somebody also had that thing of knower.
Jai talked about.
So, knowing principle, it is good to say knowing principle, then there is no confusion. So, the knowing principle or principle of awareness, that is the substratum, that is the supreme principle when compared to Sakshi Bhava, where the higher mind is itself taking the role of Sakshi.
Got it.
So that can be made clear when you say it is a thought It is not so much a thought. You can, but it's at a subtler level than normal thoughts. It's the mind taking the position of the Sakshi. Gayatri ji, you want to add anything?
Oh, yeah, Vaniji. Gayatri ji said she's stepping out. Yeah, so not.
So I think that's it. Any other speakers for today? We have taken a little extra time, but
Yeah,
I think we are coming to the final level, so a little fine-tuning is probably a good idea.
yes, Vaniji. No more speakers. Padmaja ji was the last speaker for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Yashmita ji, what if Indra ji and Mamta ji would have come? Our today's talk topic would have increased much more.
No, then we would not have gone into detailed feedback.
Yeah.
We saw that there are less number of people, which is the reason we took time. If there are more people, we keep the feedback very crisp.
All right, it was nice. We missed Purnima ji today. Vasu ji.
Yes.
Indra ji, Mamta ji.
ಸೊ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾ?
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಾನು 5 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ 3 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದು
ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ಒಂದೆರಡು ಬಿಟ್ರು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ದೃಕ್ದೃಶ್ಯ ವಿವೇಕ, ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಬಿಡೋದು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಸಿ, ದೃಕ್ದೃಶ್ಯ ವಿವೇಕ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ I can see that I am not.
That I am not.
I am that which sees.
Yeah.
So one central point, if you take and you give examples and anecdotes and stories and you just bring it out, that's done. Right?
That's it.
I'm not saying that's the only way, but that's an example of how you can do it.
On from chapter 1 to chapter 10 tanka points.
That was a bit ambitious, that's all. Otherwise, just select 1 or 2 points and go deeper and master in that. More elaborate those points rather than packing information.
Okay, I'll do that next time.
Good show, everyone. All talks were good.
Yeah. Thank you everyone. So we'll do the concluding prayers. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.